Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's doing well this evening. I just got a text from Adam. He should be here in the next like 10, 15 minutes or so. But, anyways, I've got tons of things lined up for us to speak about this evening. Celebrating 1K subscribers after the live stream with Ali Top Files today. Very grateful for Allie Top Files and her support, as well as Danks and obviously Adam, who's going to be here. And most importantly, all my incredible subscribers out there. Very thankful for y'all. It wouldn't have been possible without you. All of your very kind and generous comments, not to me, but also to each other, really gave me at some of the rougher times, because obviously it's a transition for me to pick up these extra hours every day to do this work on top of my law practice. And so there were a few times in there where I questioned, Greg, all the money that you're putting into it and all this time, is it going to be worth it? And it's not about the money to me, right? I mean, I hope to get my money back that I put in it one day, but like it's really not about the money. And your comments and your support really reinforce that for me. For whenever y'all give me kind words and stuff like that, it really just reinforces for me that this work is so much more than like having subscribers or making money. It's actually helping people make sense of a terribly crazy world that we currently live in. And I'd be amiss if I didn't say that your comments help it makes sense for me as well. And so thank y'all very much. Very grateful to be here. So tonight we're going to do like a brief summary again of the court proceedings today. And I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to expect over the next couple months in terms of the court proceedings. And then we're going to look at some, we're going to look at some of the content in the prosecution, in the government's response to the motion that the defense had filed that was decided today. I found some very interesting tidbits in there that we're going to discuss. Project Constitution. I saw a tweet from that account earlier today. As a matter of fact, maybe an hour before this, where apparently a picture of the video that Terrell Farnsworth removed from the crime scene, apparently there's been a photo of that footage leaked. Okay, so again, before we, and we'll be a little bit before we get there, but I don't know 100% the authenticity of this picture. It's alleged from that camera up in behind Charlie. Obviously, the perspective looks to be correct on it, no doubt about it, but I can't 100% say it's authentic. But we're going to take a look, and we're going to take a look at what Project Constitution had to say about it. Then we'll talk about that in the context of our continuing conversation about Tyler Robinson's due process rights, and what it means for the crime scene to have been treated the way that it was and then eventually covered up. So that fits within our analysis there, as well does some of the statements that we're going to look at in the government's response to the motion that was filed. And so, and let me see, is that it? Oh, and if we have enough time, I know people saw my short the other day from this new video from a creator, something Comanche. I did a real short, just going over like a really small snippet of his video, but we're going to whip out and just look at a little bit of the intro to his video and have a discussion, which really just relates to this investigation generally. But anyways, we're going to start there. And I think Adam and I have a plan to try to tackle that 11-hour video piece by piece, and like us come on in different live streams and discuss it with y'all, kind of like we did the Wired video. We got obviously very good response from that. I think that y'all enjoyed it. Y'all enjoy Adam. And so we're making plans to do more of that. So yeah. Hey, Allie, how you doing? Nice to see you. And Allie, I mean, I don't know if you want to jump on with us now, feel free. But anyway, with that being said, we'll start with the court. And so some of y'all were with me today with Allie and Chris there on her team. We were doing a live stream of the actual court proceedings, which were mainly audio only. I mean, it was online. There was some video, but obviously mainly audio. They had asked for audio only at the end of the previous court hearing, and so I wasn't aware there was going to be some video, but there was. We didn't get to see Tyler Robinson, obviously, but we did get to hear, obviously, all the exchange back and forth. The judge ruled that he will not disqualify the prosecutor's office, Utah County Prosecutor's Office. And obviously this was a motion filed by the defense. They learned that the attorney oh man, Grunander had a daughter, an 18-year-old daughter, who's a student at UVU who was there on the day of the incident. She alleges that she just happened to be looking away at the time the actual incident went down, and so claimed that she didn't have any significant trauma. Uh, there was obviously allegations that his relationship with his daughter wasn't going to affect the way that he prosecuted this case. Um, and so the defense was using the death penalty. That was kind of their main evidentiary point on, how they felt the prosecution was biased or really geared towards being more punitive because, they felt that Grunander's attachment to his daughter, which is understandable, made him want to prosecute this more aggressively. The prosecution's answer to that was, well, no, she didn't really suffer trauma. Prosecutors are allowed to consider third parties' trauma when making prosecutorial decisions. The death penalty announcement, while it was announced early, it was within the statutory time frame. The actual DA Gray had campaigned on the death penalty. They cited some cases where it had also been announced and filed early on. And then ultimately they also, what was the last thing on the death penalty? Oh, that's what it was. So there was a case, okay, and this was really strange to me, and I talked a little bit about it today, is that they cited this case where another prosecutor had waited quite a while before they announced the death penalty. And apparently it led to rumors and other, talk, I guess, around town or in the local media that they weren't going to seek the death penalty. And I guess that being a rumor is something that's highly undesirable for prosecutors. And so, they made that point too. We did it to dispel a lot of the information and conspiracy theories in this case. And, and I said this today, I don't see how that works to dispel that, right? I mean, I would imagine kind of like here when concerned citizens like ourselves learn that the death penalty is going to be sought. Well, that has, at least in this instance, really kicked us into gear. I know it has me to try to make sure that, at least on the guilt innocent phase of it, that everything is lined up, all the T's crossed and I's dotted, right? And so that's really what a lot of our investigation with like Miss Allie Topfiles and Candace, Barron, Adam, just everyone who's been engaged in this investigation or analysis, I guess my kind of niche here has been, on the legal analysis part with different things to do with the court proceedings and Tyler Robinson's substantive rights, our substantive rights with the media representing us in a sense in that case. And so, yeah, I didn't really get that. It didn't really square with me how announcing the death penalty as quick as possible is like helping to allay people's, I don't know, propensity to want to dig a little bit further and maybe not believe the narrative that they're being told. I mean, I would hate to think that the government announcing them seeking the death penalty would have the effect of making people not look further into these types of things. I mean, maybe I'm amiss there. Maybe I'm amiss, but whenever I read that, it really struck me as odd. And obviously, I don't think that tactic was effective in this instance. So anyways, the last thing I'll say is that the defense was arguing about the daughter being a witness, right? So generally, if you're an attorney, in a case like this, or really any case, you're going to want to avoid having a person as a witness that's directly related to you like that. Like, maybe not impossible or never happens, but it's one of those things, if you can avoid it, you need to. And indeed, in this case, I think very fairly, the judge ruled that, yeah, it can most definitely be avoided. There were thousands of eyewitnesses there. But here's where I want to get into a little bit to show y'all something that's very interesting, because in the prosecutor's response, when they're talking about, his daughter, Grunander's daughter, not being a witness that they need in order to prove their case, essentially, because there's thousands of others. Well, they said something a little bit more general and broad about eyewitness testimony that day. Okay. They said it was, this is just contextual and marginally relevant. Right. And so they said it was marginally relevant. And so let me pull up that paragraph real quick. I want y'all to look at it because it's a very interesting paragraph, and there's a little bit more in there than what I'm putting on here. Hold on just a second. And thank y'all very much. If you haven't already, please subscribe. All the likes, if you can hit the hearts, very much appreciated. It helps. And yeah, I hit 1K today. Super stoked. I still don't quite. I have enough hours to qualify for monetization, but apparently it hasn't processed quite yet. But anyways, I'm not rushing to monetize. But I did take a look at it today, and I don't know. It might be another few days, but no big deal. Let me pull up. Where's it at? I'll pull up a screenshot. Is that possible? Oh, here we go. Never mind. No. PDF. Okay, there we go. All right. So now we'll take a look. Okay. So now what we're looking at, y'all, and this is and just so give you all context, what page is this? 11. So again, this is the state's opposition to defendant's motion to disqualify the Utah County's attorney's office. So again, that was the motion decided today, the order, but the last court proceeding was their evidentiary hearing and oral arguments on this. And so today was judge rendering his order. Again, he's going to allow the Utah County Prosecutor's Office to proceed. I guess that they're just, unfortunately, under the law, there's just wasn't good, strong foundation for the defense to argue this. And I heard Barron mention it earlier. I'm glad they did. And in a case like this, death penalty, like, you need to be very, very aggressive with the state and argue anything that you can in good faith that's not going to needlessly waste time and resources. And I don't think that this got anywhere near that level of, bad faith or whatever we would call it. But anyways, here's the paragraph real quick. And let me just read it to y'all. And here they're talking about, why they can avoid having to put his daughter on the stand. But they're going to be talking, as you'll see, more generally about the eyewitness testimony. They say, additionally, any potential testimony from, and the AC relates to Grunander's daughter, relates only to uncontested facts. Okay. And I think Barron might perk up a little bit here too. There can be no dispute that Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at the UVU event. Okay. And so, and I think Barron has mentioned this on his live streams before, is that, I think that the defense probably should have been a little bit more vocal at the hearing the other day about this, about, actually contesting it, whether he was shot or not. I mean, does their failure to contest it in the context of this motion hearing mean they're just waving the white flag on that fact? No, not necessarily, but I think Barron litigates like me, and it's one of those things that if I have my story of this case, until a jury or a judge makes a specific factual finding about that, I'm not going to let the other side just start injecting this narrative into motions, into hearings, without at least letting it be known that, they can obviously state that in their motion, but uncontested, I don't have enough information now, or we, directly contest it. So, hey, maybe they're not trying to contest it, so anyways, yeah, so there we go. And then they finish off, which, except for hearing the shot, are details that the daughter has no personal knowledge and thus cannot even testify to. There can be no dispute, and they say it again, there can be no dispute that he was shot while responding to a question about shootings posed by the second questioner at the event. And there can be no dispute, you see what they're doing here? That in response to hearing the shot, the crowd first dropped low to the ground, then ran away in a panic. Nor can there be any dispute that those attending the event consisted of students and others, both old and young, including people representing Turning Point USA. Oh, yeah, we know they were there for sure. Oh, and it looks like they're aware too, right? What is more, this is the important part for our bit right now. What is more, any potential testimony from the daughter and most others at the UVU event is only marginally relevant. Okay, providing context only. Okay, and so why, in the grand scheme of what we've been discussing, and I'm really zoning in here on Robinson's due process rights as it relates to the destruction of the evidence, what this tells me, if I'm litigating this case, okay, and when I go to draft this due process motion challenging the cover up essentially and going to be requesting either a dismissal or some kind of strong sanction for the covering up of the crime scene, part of that analysis, as we've been discussing, is whether there was bad faith, and again, it's kind of on a spectrum, right? It's not that you have to like prove that there's bad faith before you're granted relief, but judge just kind of takes a look at, was the destruction, negligent, something that was, just mistake happened or whatnot, versus, they intentionally did this. I would be citing this in my brief and saying, here we are. They're basically admitting by implication, right, that all the other evidence would be digital, forensic, right? That evidence must be highly relevant because, I mean, come on now, if you're going to be presenting a case as a state, I would hope that you're bringing the most direct and, what you feel to be the most relevant evidence, right, and material advancing your case. So here, basically what they're saying is that this other evidence is very important. Okay. So with that being said, as a lawyer for him, I would be saying in my motion, you see what I mean? They knew that this evidence that they paved over was going to be more than just contextual and more than just marginally relevant, right? And so absolutely here. So when I saw that, I thought, man, and I've been really calculating all these things. And I know y'all saw my video the other day. I found the news article. Well, someone sent me, one of our very beautiful subscribers sent me an email with an article where there was a gentleman the day after the incident. And I guess by then, and by that time, just so y'all know, they were also calling it the main crime scene. Okay. Well, apparently they put two perimeters of police tape up, and some guy got caught within that perimeter, they allege, who was taking pictures. I don't know if it was a selfie or whether he was like taking pictures of the actual evidence. He claims that he was reminiscing over Charlie Kirk. So it could have been a selfie kind of tribute photo. I don't know for sure, but he was arrested. Okay. He was arrested on suspicion of obstruction of justice and trespassing. And just so y'all are aware, the obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence, like we discussed the other night in the context of what Terrell Farnsworth did, are pretty much related statutes, to the point to where the tampering with evidence statute refers to the obstruction statute. Okay. And so to me, that again shows that they are attaching importance, relevance, and knowledge of that to that crime scene, to that main area of the crime scene. Okay. And so with that being said, that would be another element that I would be using as an attorney, as Tyler Robinson's attorney, advancing this argument of bad faith on behalf of the prosecutors. And just so we're aware, when we say the prosecutors, it's more than just the lawyers, right? They're still at least semi-responsible in a way, because police are agents of the state. They're agents of the state. They represent the state. So the officers allowing people to do stuff at the crime scene. But, ultimately the cover up, right? And again, we don't know whether they directly authorized that, but it did happen. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that was a state facility. They're going to have to eat the responsibility for it, right? And so when we get down to whether it was intentional, negligent, or bad faith, it's all on a spectrum. And obviously, you're never going to get it'd be rare to get a prosecutor in there or police officer say, oh yeah, we knew that was going to be really good for Tyler's case, so we just told them to, get rid of it. You're probably not going to get that, right? So the way that you go about proving these things is in context, right? So with all of these little nuggets showing that, they knew the crime scene was there. We know that. But two, that they were also attaching meaning and importance to that, right? And so through that, them doing that, it's more of an element of showing bad faith. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Let me know in the comments if it doesn't. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to light because obviously as I'm keeping up to date, analyzing all the court stuff here, I'm doing it kind of in the mindset, to the best I can anyways, like as Tyler's attorney, right? And not saying I'm totally partial, I want to try to call shots as I see them, kind of like today. The law just really wasn't strong to dictate, them being disqualified, which I called before the hearing. And, but again, I do want to be fair, but I'm really approaching it from the context of being Tyler Robinson's attorney for a number of reasons. But, I think probably the primary one is because me, like a lot of y'all, um, I'm not really buying the way that this thing is stated in the information, okay, which is quote unquote the indictment. And so so that's kind of the angle that I'm coming. And so here was just a nugget that I picked up through this pleading that running with, and we'll have because to be honest with you, over the last week, I see something almost every day that goes back to this might be evidence of bad faith on the part of execution. Because once I really started digging into the Terrell Farnsworth thing, it put it in my mind, what the different burdens of proof and stuff like that. So I'm really thinking in that direction now. And this is one thing I saw. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up, because I found this too in here, and this might be pretty material. I would hopefully sometime I'll have one of the larger content creators who's, done a little bit more work on this than me, who might be a little bit more adept at the facts, take a look at this. But this right here, which is also attached to the same pleading, okay, to the government's response to the motion to disqualify. This is the text exchange between Grunander, his daughter, and their family, okay? And this is the text message that occurred between their family in the immediate aftermath of the incident. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. Now, as we can see, here goes 12:25. Now, I looked it up earlier, and I think the consensus is that Charlie was whatever happened at about 12:23. Okay, and just for a little bit more of a context here, I think it took like 19 seconds for them to get Charlie out of there. Farnsworth was back there around 30 seconds or so taking the selfie video, and then he popped back up around the scene around 2 or 3 minutes, and then the first SD card and camera was removed around 5.5 minutes. Okay, now the other night on Barron's live stream, and I think it was maybe Rick, one of y'all were going back and forth with me in the comments today about this, what I'm about to say. But if we look right here, they're going back and forth. And so here goes Grunander's daughter says, hey, someone got shot. This was 12:25, so about 2 minutes after. I'm okay. Everyone is going inside. Charlie got shot. So that's 12:26. And then here goes Grunander. Oh my gosh. And then she goes, people say he was shot in the neck and his head like tilted or something. That's at 12:30. So about 7 minutes after the incident. And then here goes Grunander. What the heck? What the heck? 12:32. And then she goes, insane. He had answered one question and was talking to the next question again at 12:32. And then Grunander says, is it confirmed? Like, is he dead? Again at 12:32. And then again, 12:33, he goes, did you hear a gunshot or what sounded like a gunshot? And then we come down here, and we can split over that. I mean, y'all can see the thing. It's, oh my heck. What was there? He said they found the shooter and put him in a cop car. So I guess that's Grunander referencing maybe the George Zinn takedown. So that was at 12. This looks like 12:36. And then there's a response. I for sure heard it. Everyone started screaming and running. A few people said they saw the shot hit his neck. Not sure. Then at 12:39, I left my bag with all my stuff because I didn't have time. And then at 12:39, Grunander says, shooter was on the roof. Okay. And so this is what I found to be kind of suspicious. And why was that? Well, the other night, I think I heard, if I heard Barron correctly, from dissecting the 911 calls or the traffic between dispatch and the officers, I think Barron had boiled it down to about 23 minutes or so. And please correct me if I'm wrong, if y'all know. I think it was approximately 23 minutes between the alleged shot and the incident. And when the officer, who I guess thought he observed something on the river, or no, what was it? He thought that that it would have been a good position, or that's where the shot would have came from. And I'll go look back at that in a minute. But anyways, about 23 minutes, I think we can say, before we're aware that there was any kind of law enforcement notion that this came from the roof or occurred on the roof, right? And so Grunander's statement here, and again, this is a lot of this is speculation, right? But we're just trying to fit this timeline together to make sense, okay? And so this would have been roughly 16 minutes after the incident, right? And so just so we're clear, this was not a question, because if we look at his daughter's response, she goes, "Doesn't surprise me." So I'm just wondering, how did Grunander have knowledge and feel confident enough to make a statement like that 16 minutes after the incident? Because let me tell you too, he earlier in this pleading and on the stand at the prior hearing, he made it clear that at the time, him and the DA, Jeff Gray, were together at a conference, I think about an hour away. I did the Google Maps from the town, at least, where they claim to be, to UVU. And it's about an hour and 15 minutes or so. And then he said in this pleading that it took him about 15 minutes before he got in the car and headed that way. So we're saying about an hour and a half before Grunander's timeline of him physically being there. Okay. And so here again, where did the information, if it's true what Barron said, and the only notion or knowledge we have of a law enforcement officer identifying the roof as a possible, place where this occurred, where did that come from? Where did that come from? How do you know that? And his daughter saying, "Doesn't surprise me." I guess with her, if she was there and maybe her experience, it made sense to her. But again, how did Grunander know confident enough to say this at 12:39? That's my question. Again, and maybe there was some other law enforcement official there that ran straight to the roof and we're just not aware of them. And maybe he called Grunander personally and told him this, but I don't think we're amiss based upon what we know to ask questions about this. Cause I know for me, as soon as I saw it, I looked at the time. Oh, second thing here. I don't know if y'all picked up on this, but man, isn't it nice that this text stream has timestamps? See, man, we got timestamps here. I'm just wondering why the other texts don't have them. I wonder why the other texts don't have these timestamps on them, from between Twiggs and Robinson. And so just wanted to point that out to y'all here. Let's see. Virgo, am I using LexisNexis? No, actually the state has an online portal. It's actually very confusing, but they have an online filing portal, just like the federal courts do, and most state courts do now. So that's what I've been going on there. And I agree with Barron's assessment. It is terribly confusing the way that they list these pleadings and whatnot. And so I spend just about half as much time identifying what pleadings are, because you have to pay for every pleading that you download. It's like I think $1 a download, which is fine. I mean, I'm not bitching here about the cost. But it's kind of a headache to identify these things and get them downloaded. But no, that's where I've been picking them up at, is on there. Let's see here. Okay, so let's move on real quick, because I'm going to show y'all Project Constitution's post about, and we'll look at the image that they're talking about with Charlie. And I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble with YouTube on showing this thing on X, but we'll make it kind of quick. But let's see real quick. I really like, just by the way, I do like StreamYard. It's pretty good stuff. Let's go here. All right, so let's add to stage here. Okay, so this is Project Constitution's post, and so yeah, if you're on X, please go follow Project Constitution. It's one of the better accounts, doing research, really aggressive and involved in getting this stuff out. So yeah. Oh, Brett's talking about, StreamYard's good. Yeah, Brett's talking about the timestamps because they were copies and not the actual text. Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm just wondering how they were able to copy, because this is also obviously a copy on this pleading as well. So I'm just wondering how they were able to copy, the timestamps for this pleading from that text stream versus the ones between Twiggs and Robinson. But I do get what you're saying. Highly suspicious text thread, especially when you add it to the master timeline. Definitely, for sure. If y'all haven't checked it out yet, that website that they have, whokilledck.com, is absolutely incredible. Now, I was looking at their timeline earlier on this issue of the officer reporting uh, seeing that stuff on the roof, and they had it at 2 minutes. Now, I went and checked their reference for the 2 minutes on that, and they were referencing the information on file. And I don't think the information states a exact time afterwards. I think it characterizes like soon thereafter or almost immediately thereafter, but I don't know if they put like the 2 minute time on it. We'll look in just a second. I have it, obviously. As a matter of fact, I'll do that real quick while we're sitting here talking, just because I want to make sure that, in their timeline too, maybe if Barron's right, and if y'all know, do y'all know? Oh, thank you very much, Lisette. When I'm saying the 23 minutes from Barron's live stream the other night, can one of y'all, if y'all know, chime in and tell me whether that was correct or not? And again, I'm referencing when he was talking about the 911 traffic, or the police line going. He had timed when the event occurred, that this police that just happened to be on the rooftop and have that position was able to make it over to the rooftop to confirm. Because I remember Barron was talking about, I don't know what the physical standards are for these policemen. And I remember succinctly when he was saying that, I thought, oh, well, he must have found out that they're claiming it was, 1 second or 10 seconds afterwards. But then I think I remember he said it was like 20 minutes or something like that. Because it surprised me. That's why it really sticks out. It surprises me. Give me just 1 second. I have here filings. Come on now. Let me do this. Okay, there we go. Got it. So just so y'all know, I'm looking up real quick. I'm not going to put it on screen unless I see some. I'm just looking to make sure. Okay, so at the moment of the shot, a UVU police officer, I'm reading from the information, was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, he looked for potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. So they did not put an exact time on how long that took in the information. And so maybe we need to reach out to the Who Killed CK timeline and let them know that it is up to them, obviously, because obviously I think Barron, it's all a little bit of speculation, but I think Barron, judging by the 911 or the police, communications traffic, we might want to bump that back on the timeline to the 23 minutes because if it's true that it was 23 minutes that Barron had narrowed it down to, obviously, then that potentially makes this text stream here that Grunander sent suspicious. And that might be something that we want to add to that timeline and perhaps bump that event on the timeline back for others' investigations too. Because I know, like for me, I'm now really digging in hard on the timeline of the prosecution's involvement in this and the timeline of police involvement on securing and processing the crime scene. Because again, we don't have a lot on that. And, let me say this about arresting the guy. Okay. This was the day after, for potential. And again, it was suspicion of obstruction of justice. I'm going to try to follow up and see if there's anything that eventually went through with that. But here's my perspective and my opinion. Okay. This is just my read on the situation. I think that they did that in order to try to send a message to other people, particularly content creators who thought they might want to come up there and do their own kind of side investigation. Again, this is just speculation. It wouldn't surprise me if that move wasn't intended to kind of try to scare some people off a little bit from coming up there and taking a look. Again, I don't know that, but based upon everything in context, that makes sense to me. And I hate to say that, I really do. I really do. But it's like what I see occur at that crime scene immediately after Charlie Kirk, this incident occurred. I mean, that makes no sense to me. And so once you see that, me as a lawyer, and see the crime scene paving over, well, the possibilities of what's rational and feasible in this situation gets out of the box. It just does naturally, right? So again, I don't say that lightly. Obviously, I'm inferring that the police and them were doing something to try to prevent or persuade people from doing their own independent investigation. But it is what it is. That's the way I'm reading into it. There's quite a few things I think have been done on the outside. One, to try to dissuade us, but two, I think there's been stuff done to try to pressure Tyler into copping a plea. Again, just my opinion, perspective, and I will do an actual video going through those things that I'm talking about as far as pressuring him. But anyways, just want to put that out there. So let's go back to the, give me just a second. Let's go back to Project Constitutions. So here he goes. It says, bombshell, never before seen TPUSA camera stills from behind Charlie leaked from the day he was killed. Dark marks visible on his hands. Okay. Is this the reason these cameras have been concealed from the public? Again, so he's insinuating here that this came from the camera that Terrell Farnsworth removed from the crime scene. And again, we'll see it in a second, but I think you'll agree the perspective certainly looks like it would have been that camera that it came from. Like all these things, though, we have to remember that, and I'm definitely not alleging Project Constitution or anybody, on the investigation like this did this or did this, but it could have been doctored, right? There's always that possibility in this digital age, and so I just always want to throw that out there. That way, we're staying aware and we're making sure that when we see these things, we're giving it the appropriate weight. Okay, meaning that you can see some evidence, right, and maybe you don't know necessarily it's 100% true or not. That spectrum, that's giving weight, right? So when you're reaching ultimate conclusions, depending on, in this instance, how authentic we think that these things are, will gauge, and a jury would be asked to do similar, right? So Adam's here. Let me bring him on.
Oh,
Adam, man. Brother, go ahead and take it away for a second.
Better late than never is all I can say. Good Lord. I had my moment. I rushed home, jumped in here, and then went to jump on the stream. Got in there, and there was nothing going on. I was like, "What is the deal?" And then I realized I clicked on the stream key from the last one.
So, okay.
Yeah,
well, yeah, we're glad to have you.
I was lonely in there.
yeah. Well, we were lonely here without you, brother.
Well, we're here now, so
yeah. Anything you want to say, just off the rip? And I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, hey, come check out the channel, Adam Thomas Podcast. Easy to find. I got I don't know, I don't have much under videos, but if you go to streams, because I mostly live stream, I think I'm getting around 20, give or take. So yeah, please subscribe, like, all that good stuff, but especially subscribe.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. And again, Adam's supported me. He's been doing this a little bit longer than I have, and he's been supporting me, and we talk, and I'll just let y'all know, Adam and I don't see eye to eye on every single issue, but yet we get engaged in very civil and productive discussions, I feel, and that's the energy that I obviously want to have on this channel. I think that and again, we're not like diametrically opposed. I think maybe Trump is probably the main issue where we probably don't see eye to eye, but again, it does not prevent us from engaging in civil discourse, even on that issue. And I find that, he really brings value to my perspectives and opinions on these things. And so for that, I'm very grateful for him in that regard. Absolutely.
As well. Yep. And by the way, I'm not no diehard, I'm no diehard, but I do give him some grace, at least at times. So, it is what it is. I'm still trying to decide and make my opinions.
Yeah. I mean, Lord knows people have given me some grace plenty of times in my life, so I'm not going to beat up on someone who wants to extend it to someone else.
That's right. That's right.
It's all a journey, right?
That's it.
But anyway, so go ahead.
I just gonna ask you where we at.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think you're on X, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, did you see the thing that Project Constitution posted today with this allegedly leaked photo from the video from the camera behind
Oh,
Charlie?
yes. It shows the what appears to be some black on the one hand. On the
Hmm.
I think it's on. Yeah, it's on the microphone hand.
Hmm.
You know, he claims it's. I think he's right-ish about it. I don't
Okay,
100% agree with what he says that is. I think
okay,
it's probably shards of tempered glass
okay,
from that wireless Rode mic.
okay,
I guess now he's still on the microphone theory, but he's thinking it was the receiver that
okay,
goes on the belt instead of the transmitter, I guess.
okay. Well, let
So
me.
I don't know. He's got a little bit different twist to it, but
Yeah, let me read the post real quick, and then
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
talk a little bit more. So yeah, he goes, bombshell, never before seen TPUSA camera stills from behind Charlie leaked from the day he was killed. Dark marks visible on his hands, as Adam was just saying. Is this the reason these cameras have been concealed from the public? I mean, he's asking very good pointed questions here. Two shocking still images have just leaked from the camera stationed behind Charlie Kirk during his tragic assassination at UVU. This is the same camera that Terrell Farnsworth immediately took down within minutes of the chaos after that fateful bang. Why would they try to conceal this evidence? The still images, chilling details emerge, including markings on Charlie Kirk's hand that raise more questions than answers. So this here is where he goes, taking a close-up look at the zoomed-in images of Charlie's left hand reveals a couple of dark marks that raise serious questions. These mysterious marks are not only present in the image captured by TPUSA's camera at UVU, but they can also be seen in the heart-wrenching photo of Charlie in his casket where Erica stands over him holding his right hand. What do these marks mean? Are they burn marks suggesting evidence of an explosion? Could they be bruises he had from a prior injury? As we piece together these events leading up to this horrifying tragedy, we can't help but wonder what else they are hiding from the public. For months, TPUSA has refused to release the full video. The American people deserve to know the truth. We cannot allow important evidence to be kept in the shadows. Our right to information is at stake. And then he just goes down here and calls on Candace and others to really look at it. And so, real quick though, do you think I'll get dinged on YouTube for showing this still here?
I don't think so. It doesn't show any red stuff, and so I
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
think so.
Okay. Let's see. We'll look at it. Hey, look, if we get dinged, we get dinged.
Other people have been showing it, so I mean, I really think you'd be fine.
Oh, man, sorry, y'all. Let me get over there. I hope
I
you.
don't
Oh,
know
can y'all not
who-
see that? Oh, hold on.
I don't know who chose the music, but my God,
Yeah, hold on. Let me do this. I think I gotta do this.
the music's terrible.
Yeah, hold on. Because I want to make sure we get a decent look at it. So I had blown it up a little bit. Let's see. Okay,
It's
here
like
we go. Yeah, that's
1960s
it.
cartoon music or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Okay, so what's that? This. Okay,
There we go. Yes.
and it's playing on a loop, so I'll let it play a couple times. And I
Yeah,
know
it's definitely
probably
there on his hands in the casket.
yeah, yeah, and that's it looks like whatever it was left some kind of permanent mark on the hand. You know,
Yeah, and a lot of people say those are fake hands, and I mean, I've said from day one that they look very strange, but that I felt like they were probably his hands.
yeah,
So I think that it just took so much to get them to look decent, is why they look so plastic. That's just my opinion. But I mean, what are the chances that those marks would be there in the exact same place that they were, in those
yeah.
pictures?
No. I
So,
mean
it
that
about
is
has to be.
that's the crazy thing about these investigations. And to be honest with y'all, this is the first time I've been like involved like this and like investigating a crime. I'm usually on the back end, like picking apart the investigation, which maybe that's good that I'm actually involved here. But
Well, it's definitely a
how
plus.
every little tidbit of information needs to really be plotted as like a data point within a larger perspective or narrative, what's going on, because things shift as certain facts points are established. We shift and we shift. Oh yeah, Allie, I'm sorry. I wonder if they're going to get me for the music. I mean, it didn't seem like that was. Anyways, we'll see what happens. If I have to come edit this out later,
I don't know who's going to pop up and give you a copyright strike on that music.
yeah, we'll
Maybe,
see.
but
Hey, it is what I'm not monetized anyways. So,
there you go.
and so yeah, it's very interesting. And so in the context of Terrell Farnsworth removing the SD cards and the camera, right? Well, it seems to look. I mean, if this is true, this is authentic. Well, it certainly suggests that that evidence could be counter to the 30-06 narrative, which means that it would be potentially exculpable, right, for Tyler Robinson. And when we're talking about the due process analysis, he would have to make a showing that there's a reasonable likelihood that the evidence would have been exculpatory. And so here we go. And that's with that video. And that's assuming that we never get it. Okay. So in the event that it's turned over, there'll have to be a forensic analysis. But with this right here, looking at this, it certainly seems that that this evidence wasn't going to be going in favor of that narrative. I mean, I'm assuming that's your read on it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people, I can think of some in particular. Gary Melton would be the first person that comes to mind, Paramount Tactical. But a lot of people will look at that and just be like, okay, so what does that mean? I mean, okay, he's got some stuff in his hand. I mean, it's verifiable that that was not there when he got there, for one. And
Okay.
for two, I mean, no matter what it is, whether it's shards of glass or some kind of marks or whatever, I mean, that means that something dramatic, whether it was an exploding microphone or what, there was something dramatic that happened in that period of time that either put the marks on his hands or embedded something in his hands. So, I mean, yeah, that's not just absolute 100% proof of of an exploding microphone, or it's not exact proof of anything, but it still lends to the fact that there was some kind of dramatic something happened,
Yeah.
in that short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. And, the way Project Constitution is talking about this, again, I don't think he would know for sure, just like any of us would know for sure, but it seems to me that they haven't turned over this video yet to authorities.
I haven't believed since day one. I mean, so the only thing that we got, or at least the only, as far as I know, the only record of it being turned over was when Andrew, or I guess maybe even Terrell, told her that. But either way, when they said that it had been turned over to the authorities, I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't guess there's any other way to know. But I don't believe them. I don't believe anything they say. And I feel like he pulled those cards for a reason. And unless I'm wrong, and he didn't pull them for a reason,
Yeah.
what reason is that?
Yeah.
If it's to keep them from seeing something, obviously. So, and that's all allegedly, but I don't think they've seen that footage. Yeah.
And,
I just don't think they got that footage.
Yeah, the reason we were given, well, on obviously in the Wired video on Farnsworth's behalf, that lady said that, it's obvious that he did that to protect,
Yeah,
from
that's
a
so they
potential
didn't get shot more. That
at
way somebody
5.5
wasn't watching.
minutes. Yeah, 5.5 minutes after the event. Okay, so that's the proper time to come back and do that. After everybody's cleared out, after it's pretty freaking obvious that it's not like a mass shooter event, like, okay, that's a proper time. And I think you were here too. I looked at we were looking at the DOJ crime scene manual, and it's just convenient that like the one instance where they say that you can move stuff on a crime scene before it's processed if it's to ensure the safety of people
Right.
in the vicinity. And so
Yeah, I think that was an afterthought for sure.
yeah.
I don't think he was worried about more people getting shot. But again, all he had to do was reach up there and hit the power button. That did not require him pulling them down and pulling cards out or anything like that. So that really don't hold a lot of water anyway,
Yeah. And then it seems like there was one other excuse given, maybe from that clip we played of the TPUSA. They had like a stream or a show that day with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Didn't they say something like he was trying not to have that be streamed because it was gory or violent or something like that?
I
He might have
think
said.
maybe I know that there's I know there's a couple different stories that got told, just like with every single other detail that's been told. But
Yeah.
I think Andrew Colvett was the one that said that. I think it was Andrew Colvett that said he pulled it because he didn't want it to. Something about there's evil people in the world or something, and I guess he was trying to insinuate that somebody would get a
Yeah, I
hold
think
of
I
it.
remember that too. Yeah, now that you say
that
that.
and Tyler Boyer or somebody was the one that made the other statement and said that law enforcement asked him to do that, which again, I mean, that wouldn't require you looking over your shoulder as you're doing it. So, you know, I'm no rocket scientist and I'm no attorney, but you know.
Yeah, no, and when I saw read that article that they arrested someone the next day for suspicion of obstruction of justice for just simply being within the taped off area, you know, yeah, that really told me something there. Again, it shows that, yeah, well, apparently they did consider this to be, a crime scene worthy of preservation and, prosecuting people for coming inside of that area. But yet the time that's the most important time to have that attitude and enforce those rules, as time goes, down or away from the event, the need to be so tight and enforce the rules and prosecute people becomes less and less, right? So it's just very, very strange to me.
It's almost like somebody gave the order, like they are off limits. It's like it's like somebody, gave the word, they're off limits. They're not, we're not looking at them. Whatever with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it didn't matter to them, obviously. I mean, that's the way it seems,
Well, and before you got here, I was going over the text stream that is attached to the prosecution's motion or response to the motion today to disqualify. They attached a text stream between Grunander, who's second in line, and the prosecutor on this case, between him and his daughter and his family, and his daughter was at the event. And I know I've talked to you about this, haven't I?
We talked about that a little bit.
At 12:39, 16 minutes after it happened, which I do believe is also before the policeman who allegedly found the quote unquote sniper position announced that over the radio that we heard on Barron's there. And I think it was 23 minutes. And so Grunander somehow knew to say in this text stream 16 minutes, 7 minutes before any law enforcement had confirmed it, that it, from the roof. And so, so that makes me think, is what we saw at the crime scene because the prosecutors had already told these guys that, hey, we're on the roof. Don't worry about that down there. We need to go secure that roof. Speculation, right? I'm just trying to make
it's speculation, but I mean, at this point, I mean, it's easy to draw some conclusions on stuff like that. And I mean, I'd say, it's good, very, very good chance of it. I mean,
and let's be brutally honest with each other. We know cops. I mean, your normal run of the day situation. Do you think a cop is more or less inclined, just baseline, to let someone that close to where a shooting victim, or at least perceived shooting victim, just laid, like 4 minutes before that?
I was going to say, I haven't sat there, and maybe somebody has quoted the number. I don't know, but I haven't sat there and timed it myself. But how long was it before there was any kind of law enforcement there to actually enforce that as a crime scene? I mean, like, it just seems like it goes on and on forever before they actually come and tape it up and lock it down.
That's a very good question. I mean, based upon my observations, is that there were police right there whenever it occurred. I mean, Adam from Life is Driving, from the shot, I think it takes him maybe 45 seconds or a minute to
Yeah.
fully migrate his way down there. But by that time, I mean, we see the UVU chief of police. We see what I think have been identified as tons of plainclothes officers. And the chief wasn't the only uniformed police officer, right?
But
And
they
they
didn't actually
were,
have it locked down. You know what I mean? Like
well,
it was
they
after
did for
that they were
everybody
stealing
else.
hats.
They did for everybody else
Yeah.
because, they were creating a perimeter just themselves with all the
Right.
students and stuff, right? And then they had the one guy that's like sitting there with a gun at the front,
Yep.
but
But you had
yet
all
we
the
have Farnsworth.
TPUSA guys just in and out, walking around, traipsing around like.
Yeah, it really makes me think, Adam, that those officers had some kind of specific instruction as it related to either Farnsworth, the security team, or both. I really do.
It seems like it.
I don't see them doing that without like I say real quick, but like instruction from the highest echelons of
No, I mean even the lowest of the lowest of just beat cops or whatever, bicycle cops. I mean, if there's a freaking murder, then I mean they know. Okay, we got to get there and lock it down. It's just the way it goes. I mean, like you don't have to have any special training, you know, to learn that. So the fact that they didn't escort them out of there and keep them out of there, I mean, it says something.
Yeah, yeah. And so, again, and I'm really like making these connect because God, it just made no sense to me. But, I think I'm coming close to drawing the conclusion for myself, that the reason why we saw Terrell Farnsworth moving the way that he did, and Charlie's security team too, remember, because they were walking a line, picking up stuff, or at least looking
Yeah,
and kicking around
they
in
were
the
looking for
grass.
something.
I
I
tend to
bet, and I
believe.
could put some money on what they were looking for.
Well, I
It
think
definitely wasn't a shell casing.
no, 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 no. I definitely don't think that. My view at this point, to be quite honest with you, just based upon the evidence, is I really think that they were given some type of instruction or order. Maybe not specifically like, "Hey, let them take that camera, let them take that," but like
Just
told
let them
them
do
to
their
like
thing.
back
Yeah.
off them. They're doing their thing. I don't know, but that's really the only way I can make sense out of it, especially considering the arrest that allegedly happened the next day.
Well, and compartmentalization is a thing. And so, just because they get an order don't mean that they've been fully, briefed and read
That's right.
in on everything. And I mean, they could have easily told them, look, walk around out there and find anything that looks like a such and such, and had to tell them, look, it's shrapnel off a microphone that just exploded under his shirt that was meant to mimic a 30-06, shot to the chest. So, yeah, but I mean, they were looking for something. I don't think they were just looking for something specific. Like, I don't think they were just looking. They appeared to be looking for something.
Yeah.
I don't
If
think they were just kicking the grass around.
in my head, I'm thinking, one, I mean, obviously, I firmly believe Tyler Robinson's defense should. Oh, and just so we're clear, everybody, today, Judge set the schedule for hearings moving forward. And so on March 13th, they're going to have a hearing over whether the media has standing, which standing basically means the legal right to have interjected in the case in terms of, trying to secure their ability to be there and have access to filings and stuff. So they're going to assess that issue. And then I think they're going to be ruling on whether the defense's pretrial motions, which they've moved to designate as private, whether those are going to be brought out to the public or not. So very important live court date on March 13th.
I don't think they'll kick them out at this point. Everybody has been concerned about that, but
yeah,
by all appearances, the judge has been pretty fair and seemed like he's wanted to keep them in there. The backlash, I mean, he may not know how bad it could get, but he knows that there is a lot of public interest and that there's going to be some pissed off people if they kick the media out of there. So I feel like he has worked with them and giving them second chances and third chances, whatever, just to try to keep them in there, because it'll be ugly if they end up getting kicked out.
Yeah. Well, and also too, like I said, and here's the thought that I had is, if the defense will file that motion, I think that they would have a right, or at least an arguable right, to look at the text messages based upon what we're seeing with like Grunander's text, what happened with the evidence at the scene, considering the arrest, all these tidbits. If I were an attorney, I would say I want to see the text messages
Yeah.
between Chad Grunander and every officer in the department in line, all the way down to the people who were right there on the ground. I want to see every single text messages related to this incident between those individuals. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't see, I would hate to think those guys just let that happen willy nilly without having some type of guidance or instruction to stand down.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, like I said, it's pretty, that's pretty basic. I mean, you don't have to have any kind of formal training to know that when something like that happens, that, you know, nobody goes in, nobody,
Yeah.
lock it down.
I pulled up a comment from Allie Top Files here. Just it was interesting. I'm not really sure exactly what she's getting at, Allie. If you want to clarify, but she says three things happen: electrocution, something with the microphone because it was under his shirt when Rode mics are not supposed to be under the shirt. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that cause like
Yeah.
like the noise,
So,
right? Like in the microphone, like if I were to
so
like do that.
he had never worn it like that before. You can go back and look, and there
Yeah,
are lots of clips with him wearing one of those mics, and it's always on the outside. And yeah, they're real sensitive. I don't doubt at all that they would pick up sound just fine with a t-shirt in between. I
yeah,
don't think that's the issue, but I think yes, brushing up against the body and all that. I feel like that would definitely cause an issue. So I don't think it was there just. I don't think it was somebody's brainstorm on how to make things better. Or, there was a reason why it was under there, and I think I kind of understand what she's trying to say.
okay,
I I I feel like, and Barron's said this before, but when he went in there, everybody was on the same page. They knew no matter what, there was backup for the backups. No matter what,
backup for the
he was
backups. Yeah.
not going to leave that place alive. He would not leave. He would not leave that place alive.
Let's see here. Sally Buchanan says, "Does anyone find it strange that mainstream media, Fox, CNN, BBC, didn't break until 12:48, leaving a 25-minute window? 12:48 is a key timestamp." Um, I wonder what she's referring to in terms of Sally. If you can just
Not
clarify
sure.
real for us exactly what your reference. Do you know, Adam? Are you cued in on what
No,
she's
I'm not
referencing?
sure.
Okay. Because I know that they weren't like live streaming the actual event. Maybe she's
Right.
talking about some of these court hearings. Um, but hopefully she'll clarify. But I wanted to. It seems like
Yeah.
she might be onto something interesting, so I wanted to at least pull that up. Let's see. Let's see what Virgo said. A TPUSA videographer from 910 has been scrubbed from social media. Kelsey Parker, she was facing CK in front of Rick Cutler. Wonder if defense has that 4K video. No, that's interesting. I
I've
wasn't
heard that
aware of
brought
that.
up before, but I don't know that I've really heard much
That
detail
wasn't the
wise.
Mint girl, huh? She's not the Mint
No,
one, huh? Okay.
her name was what was it? I can't remember her name.
I
Anyway,
know
no.
Coach Collins been having a lot of fun with the
Oh yeah,
Mint.
Philadelphia Mints.
He's been giving them hell on the Mints.
Yep.
Man.
I mean, with good reason though. I mean, my God. Oh, she brings us mints.
Yeah. They oh, let's see. Well, here she is again. She says lots of little things coincidentally happened at 12:48 in terms of maybe she's talking about maybe Life is Driving's video. Maybe she's talking about 12 minutes and 48 like past the incident cuz like I had been timing it like that too. I went to Life is Driving video and then started
Mm-hmm.
my count, which is like 19 minutes and 10 seconds on his,
Mm-hmm.
started counting there. And that's when I was saying, like, he comes down there to the stage area in about a minute or so. And then Terrell comes back from his selfie video at about the, I think, 2.5 minute mark. You see him start lingering around. And then like the 5.5 is where we see him start to grab the camera. And
I was
so,
going to
yeah,
say, unless my sequence of events is backwards, it's funny that he ran down there to take his selfie and announce to the world that Charlie Kirk was dead before he pulled the cards out of the cameras.
yeah. Brandy and Billy. Let's see. Dariella, Brandy, and Billy talked about it their last show too. I watched their some of their stream today. Is that the one you're referencing? And if you're still here and get a chance, let me know exactly what issue you were talking
Yeah,
about.
the one about the microphone.
Okay.
That episode they just put out about the microphone.
He goes, Brett Booth.
Thank you, Miss Susan. I'm glad somebody agrees with me.
Yeah, Miss Susan's awesome. Brett Booth says, I'd like to know if the judge will allow facial recognition software to test the video evidence. So, obviously, the defense could, hire a forensic analyst to look at the video. And yeah, they could, ask that person to definitely take a look at that. It wouldn't necessarily have to ask a judge if they could do that analysis. But again, are they going to do it? And like I made the point last time, with that video that Terrell removed, had the police been able to just do that, it would have been authentic, more or less, right? It wouldn't have had to do any kind of real digital or forensic analysis per se. Now, that's not to say that you might not still have wanted to do it, but now that Terrell removed it, there's no question that either party wants to use that evidence. They're going to have to spend the state's money to hire an expert to try and authenticate it, right? And so I guess my point's been that, because of that, because you're causing inconvenience and cost to the state and perhaps somebody's life,
charge him.
Figured you at least get charged. Again, that's just my opinion, and that's not stating that he committed a crime per se, but I'm just, if another guy that was just allegedly taking pictures got arrested on suspicion of obstruction of justice, I find it very odd how, considering what we see Terrell do, that he was not also apprehended for suspicion of tampering with evidence.
Well,
again,
but you
that's
have
not
to
to say he
consider
did that.
You have to
Legally.
consider there's a Mount Farnsworth there in Utah,
Is there?
Unless I'm
Man,
I'm
I'm gonna have
mistaken,
to
I'm pretty
Google
sure
that.
there
Hold
is.
on,
And
bro.
I guess the Farnsworths own like half of Utah or something. I mean, like he has a, I don't know, uncle or somebody that's either a congressman or a senator. I mean, like they're all his family is into politics and
Yeah. Oh, there is a Farnsworth Peak.
Told
You
you.
can climb, hike,
That's
and
what it is.
mountaineer out there. It looks like you might be able to ski out there.
But yeah, I mean, at least the way I understand it, it's not just any Farnsworth, that it's,
Oh,
named
it
after
looks-
his family. So
It
I don't
looks
know.
absolutely beautiful too, by the way.
Supposed to be the Farnsworth, his family's supposed to be really influential there. So
Well, it looked to me like he had been deputized or something. Almost.
Right.
I mean, he's literally walking around like a deputized deputy. And even let's consider this. Even if Terrell was a authorized or deputized police officer, he still wouldn't have been processing that crime scene correctly, right?
No.
So even if he
where was
the
his
appropriate-
evidence bag? Did he have gloves on?
no,
I don't think he
and
had
you're
gloves
supposed to,
on.
there should have been pictures taken. Well,
Yeah.
one, according to the manual, they should have, one, you see to whether it's on or off, right? Because you don't want to accidentally erase something if you cut it off while it's on. So they would assess that, eventually turn them off. Again, documenting everything with pictures and notepad, probably with gloves on. Very methodical and processed it all. And, with that being said, Terrell probably could have left with his cameras that day. If those
yeah.
are his cameras, I think they are.
wasn't
He could
worried
have
about
definitely
that.
left with them that day. He probably would have had to wait or maybe come back a day, or it might have been that day. But, he would have definitely got them back. But the way he was operating literally looks to me like he was a deputized officer of some sort.
Or somebody with a get out of jail free card.
I
mean-
just, and again, I hate to keep beating this up, on him, but I just,
It's crazy.
It's a little offensive to me as an American to see another American doing something like that.
because, most, probably 95, 97% of people that I've spoken with or seen discussing this online and don't think that that was okay.
No,
You know,
no. I mean, everybody else know they get, they'd be in the slammer or what have you. I mean,
oh
so
man, I was telling my subscribers, like, don't do this because you might get it might get violent. Like, I could see police in a situation like that with that
oh
critical of
yeah,
evidence that close to the scene, like literally,
take
you
you
know,
down,
tackling
tase
him
you.
like they did Charlie or something.
Yeah,
Like I really
get a
do.
tase. Uh,
I mean, I'm
but
not promoting that. I wouldn't hope that that would happen to somebody, but just knowing what I know about policing, I've had plenty of my own too. Like, yeah, that's probably what would have occurred in most circumstances.
yeah, it's crazy. And I'm no digital forensic. I trust me, this is all speculation. But it seems like to me, if you had an SD card, the main thing that you would be concerned with probably isn't anything at the beginning, probably isn't anything in the middle. The only thing you would be concerned with would be there at the very end. So,
Yeah.
so say he gives the cards up and they do have it tested. I mean, is it possible that when they test it, they say, oh, yeah, so the footage here is 100% original. It has not been messed with. Now, would they know if some was gone off the end? And if it was gone off the end, whoopsies, I guess something happened to the recording.
Exactly. Yeah.
What,
So yeah, you make a great point there. Yeah, you can definitely know whether he like added something in the image or like manipulated that
but
way.
what if
But
it
at
was
the end of
just
the day,
chopping some off?
we don't know whether that thing stayed on the whole time, whether it chopped off at some certain time. So that's a very good point. And be honest with you, Adam, I'd been thinking, I was trying to logically get to that place for a while because I knew that there was still, because on the stream with Gary and the attorney, she said, oh, well, they can just forensically check it out. No harm, no foul. But I knew that I was like, man, something tells me that they might not have been able to know necessarily if, at least on the end, well, I guess you're right. On either end, they
Right.
might not ever know if it,
And even if they
conveniently cut
did
off at
know,
some time.
it's just not there. Whoopsies, a malfunction, whatever. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to the extent that it could be proven that it was destroyed. Well, not only does that obviously bring Farnsworth well within the tampering with evidence statute, but also too, it would be
that'd be,
another issue for Tyler Robinson to bring up for
yeah.
grounds for dismissal on the due process.
Yep.
Because otherwise, it's really just going to go to the weight, meaning that Farnsworth grabbing this outside of the chain of custody, stuff like that, would really just go to weight. But if there was stuff that's been deleted and it could be shown good enough for a judge that, it was deleted, well, then that might also serve as additional grounds for dismissal of the charges.
Yeah. And, the whole thing about it is I don't know, you remember on the whole January 6th thing, they had all that that data that was gotten from AT&T and Verizon, and the FBI said, oh, we don't have anything. All that data was, and finally, after catching enough, crap over it, they both, AT&T and Verizon, both come out and said, no, there was nothing wrong with it. Perfectly fine. we got more where that came from, so I guess at the end of the day, you probably don't really have to, if they're on your side, if they're on your side, then you don't have to worry about there being a whoopsies at the end, who's going to do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, Sally chimed back in here. She says on September 10, the mainstream media did not break news until 12:48.
I was wondering if that's what she was talking about, 25 minutes, because it happened at 12. Let's see. Yeah, it's 25 minutes, right? So is that right? What time did it happen? Was it
12:23 is what I saw earlier. Thanks for letting us know that, Sally.
12:48. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sit on that and see where that fits into the context and report back. But I do feel that might be significant for some reason for our timeline here. So thank you, Sally. Let's see. Who else we got? Susan, thank y'all, Lisette. Yeah, y'all are awesome too. Here you go. Susan says, I hope the prosecutor's office knows the world is watching. I'm assuming that they do. Obviously, these types of discussions have been referenced. I mean, they're probably not watching this small channel, but their discussions like these have been referenced in the court. I know, but here's the weird thing about it is that the defense is wanting to keep the cameras and keep stuff private, and
That's so weird.
most of the discourse out here has really been going towards disproving or undercutting at least the state's narrative as elucidated in the information. So I'm having a hard time understanding why they would want that not to occur.
I could see the prosecution
yeah.
not wanting cameras in there.
Of course. So
you would think that the
very
defense would want to use that, possibly use that against the prosecution if need be.
Yeah, you're basically, without having to even be involved or pay for it, you're having people, decent experts out here, like doing tests, running demonstration stuff. So it's like we're out here doing the legwork to where when they go to trial, whoever they feel has the best alternate theory, granted, if they can get a good credentialed expert, that's not to say people who aren't doing this aren't good credentialed experts, but just depend on what theory it is. If they can get a good credentialed expert and run with it, I mean, why wouldn't you?
It doesn't seem like they're that worried about it, though, does it?
Say it again.
I said it doesn't seem like they're too concerned about that.
Well, I mean, to the extent, I'm not aware that they've reached out to any of the content creators or other people who've been doing this work to speak with them.
Yeah.
No.
So, I don't know.
And I said this before too, is that a lot of these creators have been doing polls, like, for a trial lawyer, those polls are gold, man. They pay a lot of money to do focus groups for trials and stuff, man. Like, that's gold. Like, I would be working with content creators to put together demonstrations and polls and be gauging every bit of it to really hone in my trial strategy, my narrative.
You get people like Baron Coleman, 200,000 plus. I mean, like, a poll means a lot, or even
it's meaningful, right? It's meaningful. That big of a cross section of people to be able to poll them is extremely meaningful for a trial lawyer, man. Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Like I said, the defense. I don't know.
So Sally says I meant 12:48 on the day, so that would be 44 minutes into Adam's
Not this
live
Adam.
streams. Other things,
Adam Bartholomew.
Oh yeah, other things at that timestamp: spy plane descends, Dodge Challenger captured on CCTV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Oh okay, huh? That's interesting. Thank you, Sally. I appreciate it. Let's see. Here goes hoaxing. All this bullshit talk, not one person has any sort of realistic explanation of what took place. How many months, years does this bullshit go on for YouTube views? Do we need to tolerate? I don't know, man. That's on you, bro. We're out here feeling like we're doing good work. So yeah, I don't know what else to tell you.
One thing about it is, look here, this is something that people are a lot of people are always very, very confused about. But this fits with a lot of different
so let's
things,
just go home. Let's just go home. We're confused, dude.
Exactly.
So let's just put it down.
It's exactly. But the whole thing about it is I don't have to tell you what I think happened. I don't even have to have an opinion about what I think happened to realize that what you're telling me is bullshit. Like, I can know that your theory is no good without actually having a theory myself.
That's right.
Sometimes you can just smell bullshit, but all of the narrative that they have given in so many ways is provably false. That doesn't mean I have to have a counter narrative to be correct that it's false.
Hell no. No. I mean, I hope we do figure out for sure. I mean, because I do want the people who, again, I don't feel like Tyler Robinson was the one who caused, unaliving the
No,
incident.
I think he was probably involved. I believe he's probably guilty of something.
Yeah. But, and also too, regardless of even whether, he's still working with us or not, talking about, Charlie, even then someone needs to, this whole thing caused a lot of issues, right? And whether, homeboy's still with us kicking around somewhere else in the world, or whether someone else actually caused an unaliving, like, yes, they need to be brought to justice. But at the end of the day, I'm not real interested in watching someone fry for a crime they didn't commit. And I think that the state of Utah has every intention of doing that with Tyler Robinson, regardless of whether
Sure
we
seems like
figure
it.
out what happened. It's not like they're going to, it's not like it's required that we show up and tell them, prove exactly what happened for them to let him off, or
Yeah.
that it be meaningful, for us to go stick up for him. That is as it is. And so,
Well, I mean, here's the thing too. I've brought this up so many times, but this has happened so many times, time and time again. JFK, RFK, Martin Luther. Go down the list, and every single time, we've just had to take their word for it. For once, people are actually able to collaborate and have, conversations, instant, access to all kinds of different things that we, back then, was not even a thought. But, every single time we've had to just take their word for it. Now, for once, we've got a chance to do, and none of us are actually prosecutors, so we can decide that we know 100% what happened. At the end of the day, we can't really prosecute. But if nothing else, one thing that has come out of this is a lot of the theories as to what possibly happened have convinced so many people that the Fed story is not legitimate. And if nothing else, if enough people believe that, the Fed narrative is not correct, maybe, hopefully, possibly enough pressure can be put on these people, to do the right thing.
yeah.
I mean, look, the little state governments, a lot of times they're corrupt, and you get these families that get in power in these little small, state governments and stuff, and they're just there forever. Well, obviously the federal government's that way to an extent, but either way, they are a little bit more susceptible to being, booted. So you never know. The state may not prosecute, or may do a shit job, and before it's over with, you never know. Maybe we can put enough pressure that the FBI decides to actually step in and do their job. They could do it now. I mean, it was a political assassination. I mean, it qualifies as terrorism. I mean, like they could step in if they wanted to.
Yeah, well, and yeah, so absolutely. Like I think there's definitely, and they're good at. I mean, look, they're if they put as much effort into trying to dodge jurisdiction in the first Epstein case back in 07, right? They can certainly put that much into it here. And this being a political assassination, that I'm glad you brought that up. I think it is, but not in the traditional sense of what we think of a political assassination.
No, he's not an elected official.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, he's not an elected official, but at the end of the day, no doubt about it that
politics
it was political.
seems to be involved. I think in that degree that it is. But I
mean, I'm sorry, but even going with the furry thing, I mean, at the end of the day, that is just politics anymore, especially
every time I hear it, it makes me like, I'm just like, every time I hear it, it makes me even further believe that this is not as represented to me, because it's just like it.
It's like I said on the last stream, every time something happens and it's a trans person. I mean, all these school shootings that we've had, stuff, they do their best to avoid saying that word or mentioning that fact. Like they will try to the very, very end, they'll fight tooth and nail to not have to say it was one of them. But yet, for some reason, with this one, right off the bat, the first thing everybody said, everybody started reporting on it right off the bat.
Yeah.
So
Well, that bleeds into this next, and this will be the last thing, and we'll wrap up. It's getting a little late for me, but so apparently Erica Kirk will be one of President Trump's special guests at the State of the Union. The president will call on Congress to firmly reject political violence against our fellow citizens, with Charlie Kirk's widow in the chamber. And so I reposted this and I said, you can't make it up. We don't even know for sure if Charlie Kirk was a victim of political violence. I mean, you see what I mean? Or at least the kind we're being told he was. Many believe he was a victim of domestic violence. Jury is still out,
I'm leaning that way.
True, right? A lot of people definitely think that she might have had something to do with it, right? And again, I'm not here to say yes or no, but I mean, there's a lot of people that do firmly believe that, and so
I feel like she's
doing
it could
this.
It could still be considered that at the end of the day. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
even if it was her, we know
Oh
that
yeah, absolutely.
more than likely Philadelphia was involved in that. And at the end of the day, the whole Philadelphia thing comes down to politics for sure. So
in the way they had,
no matter how you slice it, it seems like it's political in some way.
Well, the way that they had Turning Point entities structured and operating was more or less the functional equivalent of a political action committee. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest with ourselves. It was. And obviously, whatever happened there is directly related to Charlie's work with. I mean, I would be terribly surprised if there was some other off.
You're going to have a hard time convincing me otherwise.
Yeah. So in that way, it certainly is going to be related to, politics, and obviously something violent occurred. Like, I mean, hell, even if he's still with us, like something jacked him up to like do all that,
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. And I'm like, man, these people, and I'm implicating the president too. It's like, they don't take signals or cues, man. I mean, I guess in a way, like, God bless them for it, but it's like, dude, they don't take signals or cues that, like, the appearance is not good. I know for me, this does not appear to be a good thing,
Well, I'm not trying to, I always say this, I'm not trying to just blindly follow anybody or take up for, if the man is not doing right, then he can be criticized like anybody else. But it just blows my mind because he has always been, even before he got into politics, and then when he first did get into politics, he has always been so good at politics and one of the best at reading the room. All these wild things that he comes out and says sometimes, like just to get that shock value or whatever, like us invading and taking Canada. It's like he does that, throws out that really extreme thing, feels everything out, but he does it just to get something else. It's like I heard something today. They were talking about Trump, and she said the best way I can describe him is if he wanted an apple, and so he went to you and threatened to take your whole orchard just to get the apple.
Yeah.
Knowing that he wouldn't take the whole orchard, but that you would bargain with him and at least he could get that apple out of it.
Yeah.
And but all that being said, I mean, like, it's hard for me to believe that he doesn't know what this looks like. And so I keep hoping I'll be surprised and the feds or somebody's going to pop up after it's all said and done and say, hey, we got this. I don't know.
Yeah. I brought up a comment here from Raining. She's one of my longtime supporters, but she says the defense doesn't want the public to see how bad they are since they were researched. Remember, Barron found that, I believe, since they were researched before by Philly, they are supposed to be sure TR is found guilty. So, I mean, just again, very interesting comment there, and in the context of what we know from Barron on Google searches. And, these are out of state lawyers.
Right. She's got a hell of a track record, right? What's her name?
The lady lawyer. Yeah. And I think they're both from California too. So these are out of state lawyers.
She's not just some run of the mill, he's no run of the mill public defender or public offender.
Well, and so here's an
Offender.
interesting take too, is that these are and I think they're high end death penalty attorneys, but
Yeah.
they're from out of state. So what I'm wondering, at least one of them is for sure. What I'm wondering is, was the death penalty sought to get them brought in? Again, just speculation. Just
Yeah, I
thinking
mean,
out loud. Could that have also been some of the reasoning behind the death penalty? A reason to pull in certain out of state attorneys specifically?
right.
Again, I
Well,
don't. Again, speculation, but just thinking. Because if you ask most death penalty lawyers that I've seen, and Fox News even quoted one, they don't see it where the death penalty fits here. It's
right.
going to be a stretch, and I want to remind everybody of that too. Is that
They would have to
substantively,
prove
yeah, and I have to
beyond a
lean
shadow
on
of a doubt.
I have to lean on legal experts for that. I'm not an expert in the death penalty, but 9 out of 10, I've seen comments say that, yeah, not a real tight case. So it's real suspicious there too, right? That they're pulling in the death penalty. Oh, one other thing on that is, one of the aggravating factors for the death penalty is because he shot in the vicinity where there were children.
Yeah.
And then we're there with Grunander had a child there in the vicinity, right? So again, I could see where the defense was looking at that saying, come on now.
Yeah.
So just a thought.
Yeah, and I tell you what, since we're doing a lot of thought, this is just a little mental exercise. I'm not at all completely bought into this, but it's something I do keep in the back of my mind. They have the whole everybody from the FBI, especially the FBI director, everybody's acting so weird, and more than likely they're just incompetent or don't care. I mean, I'm just going to be honest, but something else that I just keep thinking, but especially when you start talking nation state level, when you start talking, counterterrorism, counterintelligence, all that, how do you investigate possible, state level foreign intervention or foreign whatever motives in something like this? How do you investigate that and let this nation state know that that's what you're doing? I mean, it would be really, really hard to do that kind of investigation. Just a thought, like I said, what better way to convince your greatest ally that you think might have been in on a political assassination? What better way to convince them that they're good other than have the counterterrorism guy come out and get in a public fight with the FBI director because he's trying to investigate foreign ties?
Here's an interesting comment from John. It says, purport of ecchymosis. God, I don't want to butcher that. And I'm not an expert in this, but I just wanted to. The trauma of a gunshot can cause blood vessels to rupture in bruising or bleeding under the skin that may appear as dark spots. Now, I definitely believe that to be true. I thought that was in the context, though, of like a point blank kind of situation where there's like hot powder from the shell coming out of the barrel going onto the skin. Do you know anything about that, Adam?
I've heard that too, and I'm sure that's right. But at the end of the day, I think what he would possibly be referencing is the hand and the arm thing. I think don't know.
He's talking about the arm, the hand that we were talking about earlier.
But I wouldn't think that it would be that far away from the bullet wound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let me look. I'm Googling it. See what it says. Or severe is a common finding in gunshot wounds resulting from ruptured blood vessels and blood pooling under skin, often accompanying the entry wound along with an abrasion rim.
I'm guessing has something to do with maybe the cavitation and stuff that happens when
okay,
because it dumps all its energy, and then what's the word I'm looking for? Water doesn't compress, and we're made out of mostly water. So when that thing goes in and dumps all that energy inside the body, it can't just absorb. I mean, like it has to, that has to go somewhere. So that's one reason why it causes such
Okay.
massive trauma around the entry wound, because
Yeah, that's what I'm reading here, is that it's true. And I was think a little mistaken, but I do think I was right in the sense that hot powder from you know, a point blank gunshot can also leave
yes,
impressions on the skin, burns. But yeah, like you said, it seems to be true, but in the local area
yes,
where the actual bullet is. And
yes,
so, you know, obviously I don't think Charlie's hand got hit.
right.
Um, but no, but that's very interesting though. You know, at this juncture, and that's why I love this, because at this juncture, we don't, you know, just have enough to specifically rule that out. And so, yeah, part of the conversation. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And John and I email back and forth a bit too. So, thank you, John. Let's
Yeah.
see.
And going back to that previous comment, again, hey, we can have all these conversations, and there may be more questions than answers, but at the end of the
That's right.
day,
And I get why
I
people
don't
are.
need to know what
Yeah,
happened to know
I
that.
get it. I do. And that subscriber's been good to me. He's been, and I apologize if I got a little snappy on the way back. I mean, I get it. It is frustrating, and people um I know the feeling where it's like you feel very strongly one way that something happened like this, and you feel that like if it goes the other way and this kind of counter narrative, that like, you know, it's kind of the feeling that, oh my God, I'm going to see injustice occur, or, you know, so I get it. It's like, you know, and I've felt that at times, even in this situation. Um, you know, there for a while, I was really kind of married to the exploding mic, to the point to where I didn't even want to watch other videos that talked about anything other
Mhm.
than that. And I had to really pull myself back.
Well, I mean, and at the end of the day, everybody wants justice. Everybody wants to know that the right person was caught
Yeah.
and tried, convicted, whatever. Everybody agrees on that. But at the end of the day, at this particular point in time, the first injustice that's going to happen. I mean, well, I guess that was the first injustice, him being, you know, killed in front of God and everybody. But I mean, the next big concern is that a patsy ends up paying the ultimate price for something they did not do.
Man.
And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm fine with him being prosecuted and convicted if he had anything to do with it. And I figure he probably did. But, to get the death penalty,
Yeah.
if you really didn't do that, then that's the first thing. That's the first thing that needs to be figured out. Okay, well, we know he didn't do it. So,
Yeah.
now let's move on to who actually did. And again, we're
Yeah.
not prosecutors. We can't prosecute anybody, even if we do 100% know who did it. But if we can get enough question marks out there to the public and enough pressure, maybe that'll keep him from going on death row without.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, let's see.
Hey, and I'm fine with him sitting on death row if it comes out, and if we all have our minds blown and they do have all
Well,
the,
yeah. I mean, look, if
you know,
there's
if there's
you
a
know,
bunch of
some kind
stuff
of
that I don't know
bombshell
about.
evidence, and you know, we you know, I just, with the 30-06 thing, man, I
No,
think
I
that
mean,
they
that's,
painted themselves in a corner that they're not going to be able to prove their way out of
yeah.
with that one. I don't think. Again, they could be wrong. Maybe there is some type of evidence or ballistic expert out there that can like do a demonstration and show us how it's perfectly possible and reasonable. But I mean, I think anything short of like a live demonstration with
Yeah.
somehow not a actual human body like is going to be required for that
I
one to
mean,
be
look,
fully digested.
you got people like Jack Posobiec out there saying, the number one, I don't have to explain all this to, I don't have to go into all these details about exactly how. The one and only proof that you need to know is the family. Daddy recognized the gun. Daddy knew when he saw that gun that it had to be Tyler, you
Yeah.
know, and at the end of the day, that there's more than one way that can't be can't be right. For one, they had not released any pictures of any gun at that particular point in time. And then when they did, shortly thereafter, it was not the gun.
Yeah.
I mean, you look up that picture of that black synthetic stock gun and then pull up a picture of a 1908
I will.
Mauser.
Well,
I
that'll be
mean,
the
like,
last thing we'll do tonight. I want to do that too. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's incredible.
there's no comparison. I mean, they are not in any way. The caliber's about what they got in common.
Because they made it a point too to like say it was like the antique like World War
Yeah,
One
yeah.
version,
It's a
too,
vintage gun.
which is a very distinct firearm. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let me do this. Well, I'll just do it like this.
While he's doing that, don't forget to let me up after this. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah. Y'all go check Adam out, please. Yeah, if you don't mind.
The more subscribers I get, maybe
You're gonna be
eventually
seeing a
YouTube
lot
will
of
start
Adam, too.
helping.
So it's he's gonna be here with me quite a bit moving forward into the future.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun doing this.
Okay, here we go. Here goes a good picture. So this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the rifle. And what I'll do is I'll pull it up, Adam, if you want to like talk to him real quick about
Sure.
the specific features that we need to be looking at. Here we go. And then I'll pull up the other one. Oh, quit it. I hate this. Okay. See it now?
That's
Okay.
supposedly the gun. That's the picture that came out. I mean, like it's even sitting in the freaking rifle box.
Dude, did they just go to Walmart and buy that thing? Like, did they just go to Cabela's and like buy
I mean, it looks
a
like it, but that's a modern scope, which I mean, there's nothing saying that you can't put a modern scope on a 1908 rifle, but like that's a run of the mill standard black synthetic stock rifle. I mean, look at the barrel. There's not even there's no rust or patina or oxidization. I can't say that word, oxidization. There's none of that. So, I mean, that's, but they put those pictures out there and they let people run with that for a while thinking that was the gun.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Pull this one up.
If it looks just like that one, don't show it because I don't want to be that wrong. I'm just kidding.
No, me and you both. And so they just asked a question too about it being able to be broken down. And as you'll see, what I'm about to show you has a
It's got the long forearms. The stock goes all the way out.
It's made of wood that's like it doesn't break down like that. Let's see. So this is the Mauser that they're alleging.
Yeah. Look, the stock goes almost out to the end of the barrel. Look at that.
I know. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit.
Holy God.
There we go.
It's like they were just trying to make
this. So you see right here. So like this is all one continuous piece of wood, right?
Yes.
That's
except
be
for
like
the piece of wood on
half.
top.
That can't be broken in half. So it's
not like that. No. So the other gun, if it had been the other gun, and I've heard a lot of people say this, and I always want to scream I always end up screaming at the monitor. But anyway, how you cannot break one of those rifles down with a screwdriver. You have to have all these tools. That's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what make and model it is, yes, a lot of times there's like a screw right there underneath it, take that one screw out, or maybe even more than one, but either way, the stock comes right off of it. You got the barrel, the action and the scope all together, and then you got the stock. Now, that gun, no. And if you pull that up one more time and look at that, something else I was going to point out.
Oh, yeah. You talking about the Mauser?
Yeah, the Mauser.
Yeah.
So all right, so with a regular, just with a regular rifle like the black one that we just looked at, if you took the stock off of it, then you're looking at probably somewhere close lengthwise between the stock and what's left, the barrel and the action. So that would probably be pretty close. But you take this one right here, and and the other stock is going to be, I don't know, inches wise. They're fairly short compared to this. You see how that wood goes all the way out to the end? Like that stock is extremely long. So, if he broke it down, that's something else I've always wondered about. They get talking about how he had it stuffed down in his leg. Okay.
It's 24 inches.
Yeah. But I've never heard anybody say that he had the action stuffed down one leg and the stock stuffed down in the other.
No.
The stock wouldn't fit in that backpack that he had. I can't see it. Now, maybe if it was a little AR-15 stock or something, yes, but like that stock would not just drop in a backpack, but you'd be able to zip it up. So those guns right there, I'm sorry, but there's so many issues with that story.
Yeah.
Like even if you took it down, there still would not be any way of concealing it unless you put, like I said, the stock down one leg and the barrel down another. And even then, it's just not going to work.
Rick said too, that even a regular 30-06, you can't break it down with a shell in the chamber. Let's see, what did Rick say? Rick said you can't break down a 30-06 with a shell in the chamber.
Well, now, so that is one thing that's a pretty common mistake or misunderstanding people have had. So they definitely claimed that it was taken apart and then reassembled on the roof. But to my knowledge anyway, they've never claimed that it was disassembled after that. So that is correct, but according to the the actual court filings, I mean, like the official documents, and according to the official story, then that wouldn't really be an issue because it wasn't pulled apart after the fact. I still say BS on it. That doesn't mean I believe the story anymore, but yeah, it wasn't supposed to have been taken back apart after he made the shot.
Let's see. All right. Well, I think I'm about at the end of my leg, man. I've been going hard today.
Yeah.
It's been a big day of doing this, and it's been a great day. And I'm glad to end it with you, Adam, and everybody here.
Yeah.
I'll probably take a break tomorrow and catch up on all my legal work. But
congratulations on the big 1,000.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I got a lot of responsibility now to show up and perform, and going to be continuing to get the studio up in order. I got a new camera for sure on the way. I'm going to order my desk this week. And then as soon as it comes in, I'll either have ordered my decorations or in the process. But anyway, within a week or so, I'll definitely be down there full tilt there. I think Adam and I are going to do a series of live streams, probably do one later this week on Friday, perhaps. And then, we're going to be looking at the Comanche video. I posted a short about it. It's an 11-hour video that this guy Comanche in Utah, I mean, hats off to him. He put in a lot of work on it. And so, but anyways, we want to take a look at it. We're going to break it down piece by piece. It's 11 hours. So we're going to take several live streams to do it. Remain objective. There's probably some points in there that he makes that are good, that probably are nuggets that can potentially inform our part of the investigation. Obviously I've looked at his, part trying to prove up the 30-06 is feasible. I took issue, but we'll talk about that, specific reasons. But like I say, I'm not going to go through that video trying to discount everything. I definitely don't think we would be able to. But we definitely want to take a look and see what's good, what we think's bad. And obviously that'll be up to y'all too. But it's a counter narrative or And again, and I need to look at the whole video to be quite
It's
honest,
a
because he seems
extremely
like
extended Fed version. You know what I mean? It's the it's
well,
basically
yeah,
the
I
Fed
mean,
narrative
that's
stretched out from 5 minutes to 11 hours.
yeah. Well,
There's some
hey,
differences, but
well, look, we've been putting in a lot of work, or the people who've been doing theories on this end have been putting in a lot of work. So it's good to see someone over there put in some work to try to substantiate it. If again, it sounds to me though, from judging by the
hey, when you
parts
get
I've
that
seen,
federal
that
money, when you get that federal government money,
yeah,
you can do an 11-hour
well,
video.
I'll put it to you like this what we're
That
seeing,
was
it's
just a
all out of my
joke.
pocket for me, but it's all
Right,
good.
right.
And I know John Bray has of course he's been very much supported his business through doing this, which is great. That's awesome. And so he's
Yeah.
actually been
He's a
taking a
good
lot of
dude.
that and putting it right back into his investigation. And so hats off to him. I mean, we need to not leave a stone unturned. So
Yeah, I don't know if I told you or not, but I've been in contact with him
you
just
did,
off
you
and
told me,
on.
yeah.
Did I tell you that? Yeah. So one of these days, I'm going to have him on.
Okay.
It'd probably be a
Hey,
couple
yeah,
more
no,
weeks,
man, let
but
me know. I would love to speak with him. And
yeah, he said he's going to come on to break news, whatever that means. So,
okay, well, another thing too is I'd like to do a stream and just educate my subscribers about experts and expert testimony in court
mhm.
cases, and so that way, we can have a framework that when we're looking at these different theories and theorists, to have an assessment about what is the likelihood that something like this would be admissible, and what parts might or might. So, anyways, I just want to give everybody a context for that. So I'll probably be doing that next couple weeks as we move forward. Because another thing is, apparently they are going to have a preliminary hearing in May, meaning that in May, they're going to have the probable cause hearing. I know it's crazy, it's this long, right? But they're going to have the judge seemed hell bent on keeping that May date. So
Mhm.
depending on his ruling in March, we might be able to look at some of the pretrial evidentiary motions that the defense is filing. And man, that'll give us a lot of information, presumably,
Mhm.
for all this. So hopefully that happens. Let's all pray, and hopefully that'll happen. And I think that will certainly help to, make us feel hopefully a little bit better about what's going on.
Yep. Oh
Maybe.
yeah, and really quick,
Yeah.
I know you're ready to go. I
No,
am
you're good.
too. But call to action. our favorite, content creator, Gary Melton, Paramount
Oh,
Tactical. I did a video kind of addressing him,
yeah.
addressing Candace. And so, yeah, I guess somehow or another he took notice of it because he dropped down and left me a comment. And so he told me that I was more than welcome to come on his show so we could discuss it, and I told him I'd be more than happy to do that and asked him when. And finally I got another comment from him, and he basically said the same thing. Yeah, you can come on the show anytime. We'll talk about it. So I was like, okay, just let me know when. Well, he's ghosting me now. So
Yeah.
if any of y'all ever slide in, Paramount Tactical's chat, blow him up, say, hey, what about Adam Thomas podcast? When you gonna have him on? So yeah, I wanna do that. Maybe get enough pressure
Yeah,
on him.
no doubt. No doubt.
Maybe he'll do
Yeah.
it.
I
Yep.
mean, I would hope that if he reached out and made those statements, like he would bring you on. I mean, I would hope that he would, follow up with that. I mean,
And I got
you
the
know,
screenshot, so
well,
I don't know.
look, we'll keep mentioning it, and hopefully the word will get out,
That's
and
right.
hopefully
That's right.
he'll figure out what he, at the very least he could reach out and let you know otherwise. If so, I mean, I
Right.
think that would be a little bit, again, I hope he lets you on, but I hope if he doesn't, he at least lets you know, so that way
Right.
we don't have to, if it's not going to be a thing, we can
I
move
think it
on. But
surprised him that I accepted.
well,
I mean, honestly, really.
it might have.
So,
It might have.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm more than happy to take him up on
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think
I'm
you'd
not
be a good
afraid to talk to
representative.
anybody.
Yeah, you're very level-headed and calm and very fair-minded. So I think you'd be a really good representative actually from our side to go on there.
I'll just take
Uh,
that video I did on the microphone theory. Let him, or tell him to let me share my screen, and I'll just go through that video I did.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Please go subscribe to at Adam Thomas Podcast to his channel. If you haven't, please subscribe
Yes.
here. I'm
Thank
very
you.
grateful. Reached 1K today. We're going to keep doing more content like this. I'll be taking tomorrow off. Thank you to everybody who showed up tonight. And but Adam and I will be back probably on Friday, thinking about doing a stream. And but we'll let y'all know. But he's definitely going to be here pretty often with me. So
Yes,
we're
definitely.
good. We're locked in.
Yes, sir.
See y'all, Susan. Thank you, Adam. I'm sure we'll be in contact, and I will see y'all soon.
All righty. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing.
Yeah, man. All right, Adam. Have a good one, brother. And
Yep,
we
you
will
too.
see y'all. Good night, y'all.
All righty.
Peace.